Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Premier League preview show from Bookmakers TV. I'm Gav from the LFC Day Trippers. I'm delighted to be joined by another member of the LFC Day Trippers in Bracky and Jamie from Daily Hotspur. We are going to look at the Premier League title run-in. Last week we done a great show, myself and Kev, where we looked at the relegation. There was about 9 teams we had to go through, so there was numbers everywhere, there was predictions everywhere, it was all over the place. But this week is much more straightforward. Arsenal sit on 73 points, Manchester City sit on 67 points. Man City have a game in hand, and they do meet Arsenal at the Etihad in this run-in. So as it stands, we were just saying before we come on live, if City win all their games, they will be champions on goal difference, I think. That's presuming everyone wins all their games. So what we're going to do tonight is we are going to go through the fixtures in chronological order as we see them, as they're dated on websites as it stands. City do have a game that has to be confirmed, which is Brighton away, but looking through the fixtures and looking through the dates, we think, presuming they get into the Champions League semi-final, which is close to a sure thing at the moment, is the only date we can really see them getting the game in is possibly the 23rd or 24th of May, which will be between, as it stands, the second last and the last league game of the season. So, it would have been easy to have Arsenal and City fans on here tonight just shouting, oh, we're winning every game. But Jamie's a Spurs fan, Bracky's a Liverpool fan, so they're impartial to this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through it game by game, and we're going to assign what we think these clubs will get points-wise before the season is out. But to start, Jamie, I know you're a Spurs fan. You want City to win every game, right? And we get that. And you want Arsenal to lose every game. But just so far this season, like people are going on about a City drop-off and stuff like that. But, like, in fairness, Arsenal have 8 games left in the league, I think it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They sit on 73 points. So if they win all them, they would finish on 97 points. If City were to win all their games, they would finish on 97 points. So I know where people get the City drop off and that argument, but in fairness to Arsenal, they've gone at an incredible rate.
Yeah.
And the drop off from City isn't really there when you actually look at the points total. The quality of football maybe hasn't been of the mad standard it's been over the years, but it's still an impressive haul points-wise for City as we stand.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you just have to look at how well Arsenal have done this season. It really pains me to say that as a Spurs fan, but they've been exceptional. 30 games they've played, and they've dropped points in just 7 of them. 3 defeats all season. You obviously look at Liverpool and Man City over the last couple of years have been so fantastic, and that record's not far off it. So it's just a real credit to Mikel Arteta and Arsenal how well they have done, and been so many occasions throughout the season where people have said, okay, they're going to go away to this place and they're going to drop points. But they keep coming through, and I think they've done really well on many occasions. And as I said, fantastic points haul from them. I think for City as well, there maybe has been a slight adaptation period for them. Obviously, almost kind of changed their team really and the way they played. I think Erling Haaland, lots of people talked about him coming into the season, how he would change the team. And he has changed the team in the way I think that we've seen in the past. Man City are a team who like to shout the goals. They've got a fluid front line. This year, obviously, all the emphasis has been on the goals scored by Haaland, and it's about creating opportunities for him. So for them, they've obviously changed it up a little bit, and it feels like they've taken a bit of time to kind of get used to that. Obviously, this year, since the turn of the year, they've really picked up. I think it's just 1 defeat since February that they've had, and they've been on this fantastic run recently. So they feel like they're starting to kind of finally kick into gear now, Manchester City. But yeah, I think people have obviously been maybe a little bit harsh on them this season in terms of how they have done. I think it's just been a bit of a getting used to having Haaland in the team, getting used to maybe a different way of playing. And then, of course, Arsenal, I just think deserve so much credit for this year. They've been magnificent, as I said. To drop points in just 7 matches is really some achievement. So, I think it's going to be a really, really exciting kind of last couple of games.
Chris, we've seen these title run-ins with Liverpool on a couple of occasions with Man City. 18, 19 and 21 last season. And, 18, 19, 99 points from City, 97 points from Liverpool. Isn't that right? 98 points from
98
from City, 97 from Liverpool. Liverpool do 99 points the following season. And then last season, I think it ended up at 92 to 93 or something like that. So the levels have been huge, and City have that experience in it. But, who do you make favourites? Like, because I look at it, and I still make Arsenal the favourites. Slight favourites. I'd still make... Although City have a huge experience in this, and Arsenal have showed maybe at the second half of Anfield last week where it was a bit iffy for them, they still hold that 6-point advantage. City still have to win that game in hand, okay? And still have to beat Arsenal at the Etihad, and then follow it up by really winning every game while they're chasing the European Cup. Arsenal have less distractions. They just know they have to play bang, 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 bang league games. No other distractions.
Yeah, we've tried to con ourselves before the start. We're going, but City have got loads of games to worry about, so this might distract them, and it never does. The only thing that's different this time is I think City are a better side when they're ahead. I think they do find the chase sometimes a bit awkward, and I think the years we've missed out on them is we've given the advantage to go ahead, and it's always us trying to chase them down, and they're really, really hard to chase down. So I think Arsenal do have a slight favourites because I think City much prefer steamrolling ahead and just seeing if people can catch the coattails. I don't think they like chasing as much, and it'll be interesting how he rotates. The worst thing that happened to Arsenal was City battering Bayern 3-0 because he can really rest quite a few now and rotate it a bit more. Whereas before, if it was a tight 1-0, you've got to be a bit more cagey about it. So,
but
I still think City will win it though, because I just think when they get the grip between the teeth, they know how to eventually just put the foot down and go for it. And for them, when Haaland's has the odd time Haaland's been quiet, which is very rare, they have Alves who comes on and just bangs goals in as well. He's just like an Aguero regen, which is ridiculous.
The thing about this is, and you were talking about City preferring to be out front runners. City potentially don't have the opportunity to go level on games with Arsenal until 3 days before the end of the season. Because if that game against Brighton is on the 24th of May, I can't see where City catch up with games on Arsenal here. When you look at it, the dates that are here, City, like we get on to it now in a minute, City played a game in hand against Leicester to start with. Arsenal play the next day. Then Arsenal play Southampton, which means then that City have 2 games in hand, and then they play each other. So when they come off the back of the Etihad, they still have 2 games in hand. So it's City are going to have to win this from, overtaking Arsenal on the last lap.
We'll go through it. I think City edge ahead probably early May, around about the 7th of May. I think that's where the edge ahead.
It's just interesting because Kevin Sullivan says Arsenal have the points in the bag. That's huge when the pressure's on. City's pressure will come from the possible treble as well, which can't be overlooked. They haven't got... They can't, for me, prioritise any competition now because it's all in on the tree, Whereas if they were 2-0 down against Bayern, you kind of go, look, if that goes, it goes. We can go win a league and an FA Cup, but the pressure is going to come from them. But just looking at, I know what you were saying, but I actually don't think City, even if Arsenal beat, say, West Ham and Southampton, and City beat Leicester, right? City would still be 9 points behind Arsenal with 2 games in hand going into the game at the Etihad. So they'd actually be 6 points behind Arsenal with 2 games in hand after the Etihad.
Yeah. But I think it's the run Arsenal have after City. I think
Chelsea home, Newcastle away, Brighton at home.
I think that 3 game that's the crunch period. If they get the results that they'll need to get, then it's all. I think if they get out of City, Chelsea, Newcastle, Brighton with a reasonable points total, I don't think it matters what City do then. But that's where I think they'll struggle.
Red Steve was saying Arsenal should go 9 ahead this weekend. No, well, City play Leicester at home this weekend before Arsenal play. So look, let's get into it. We'll start off with Arsenal, right? We're going to start with City because they play first in this run of games. So City face Leicester at home this Saturday, right? Leicester at home. Leicester currently sit second from bottom, 25 points, all over the place. Your man is in the job now. Dean Smith. Yeah, he's brought a load of lads with him out to Leicester to try
Craig
sort this out.
Shakespeare's back at Leicester again, isn't he?
Yeah, I think John Terry might be
John
hanging
Terry
around the
says.
place, and so there's a lot going on at Leicester. But we've seen it before. A manager comes in, gets a few days training out of them, and they turn up like Brazil 1970, right? But Jamie, realistically, City at home, they've had a really good win at home to Bayern Munich. I think they play Bayern Munich next week, don't they? Midweek. So they're going into this one and they know they can put what they want into this because not that they'll rest a lot against Bayern, but they have the opportunity to rotate a bit. So Leicester at home, 15th of April, 3 points.
It will be, I think so. I mean, look, regardless of whether there is a new manager bounce at Leicester, I still think the Man City will have more than enough. I think as well, obviously, people talking about will they look to prioritise the Champions League. I think Pep Guardiola will know that he can't afford to do that. You know, Real Madrid, if they are going to be the team they face in the semi-finals, that's going to be such a massive challenge for them to overcome because, you know, regardless of what shape Real Madrid are going to be in, they're always an incredibly difficult tie in the Champions League. So they could quite easily get knocked out of that. And if they weren't to win the Premier League, I think that would be a pretty disastrous season for Man City. So I don't think Pep Guardiola is going to look to prioritise any competition. I think he's going to look to go strong in each of them. And we all know he's got the squad to do that as well. So I think this is going to be a game where I think they're going to comfortably win this one. I think it's 7 defeats from 8 from Leicester. So, you know, Dean Smith's got a hell of a job on his hands there. You know, is he the right man? You know, we saw him at Aston Villa. I don't think he was particularly great there. I think he was at Norwich as well. Obviously in the Championship, didn't do a particularly good job there either. So, yeah, it's a strange appointment from Leicester. And I just think their form has just been so poor. And it's quite embarrassing to think that I mentioned their run of 7 defeats in 8. I think the other one was a draw, and the game before that was a defeat to Spurs. So just typical Spurs there. But yeah, I think City are going to absolutely steamroll this one. I think this will be a 3-0 win for Man City here. I think very comfortable.
I have City down for 3 points here. I think it's the first opportunity that they have to get level on games with Arsenal and get within 3 points of them because they're definitely targeting that league game against Arsenal. But Chris, are you going anything other than if City win here?
No, I think City have this one by half time.
Okay, fair enough. Staying with you then, because the following day West Ham have played away to Ghent tonight, drew 1-1 in the quarter final, I think, of the Europa Conference. So they obviously have to play on Sunday. So they do. I think it's a 2 p.m. kickoff on Sunday against Arsenal, unless it's the 4:30 game that's already been picked. But I think it's 2 p.m. Arsenal go away to West Ham. Now, I'm going to pull it up first. I think Arsenal win this, and I think they win it handy. I think West Ham have been poor. They've been disorganised. They're not scoring enough goals. They give away a lot of chances. And I just think Arsenal movement is going to kill them. The fact that they're playing Thursday, Arsenal have had a week off. I know it's a London derby, but people have looked at this one and thought, Arsenal away at West Ham. I don't see it. I see Arsenal 3 points. Chris?
Yeah, me too. I can't see them dropping points against West Ham. Because I think West Ham could conceivably win the Europa Conference League and be playing the Championship next year. That's generally how it feels like how it's going to go for West Ham at the moment. I think they've got sole concentration on the Europa Conference by the looks of it.
Okay. Jamie, you know more about London derbies than we do. You know, West Ham, my only thing is West Ham seem to struggle. Can't get a rhythm going at all. And being away in Europe on a Thursday night, they've only finished their game about an hour ago. They'll have to come back, you know, they probably get a bit in on Saturday and then they're playing Sunday. They just don't feel the right fit for me to play Arsenal.
No. I mean, West Ham are all over the place at the moment. Obviously, they did get that big win away at Fulham, but you look at the game before that at the London Stadium, it was a 5-1 defeat against Newcastle. So I don't think the atmosphere there is going to be particularly great. I think this is a derby it's just not particularly a real fierce one. So I don't think that's going to play a factor in it. And as you said, I just think that having played Thursday, having drawn, obviously that will be a disappointing result for West Ham as well. I think the mood's just going to be so low, and I think this will be another comfortable win. But for Arsenal here, I could just think that West Ham a real mess at the moment. So again, comfortable win for Arsenal here, unfortunately.
It's a London derby, right? Is there any bit of you that thinks, you know, West Ham are looking going, we could stop Arsenal here? You know, because we got that as Liverpool fans where you go, you nearly every club you turn up going, we could stop Liverpool here, you know. and they go up a level and they go up a notch. Is there any part of you that thinks that, or do you just think, no, just what's going on at West Ham? Like, if West Ham maybe were 11th or 12th, you go, yeah, there might be something here, but they're not showing any form, are they really?
No, I think with this one, for West Ham, the only game that they really get up for in the London derbies is Spurs, unfortunately. If it was to do with Spurs, I think they would, or the title race was somehow to do with Spurs. I think they would obviously love to give Arsenal the points, but I don't see any sort of London derby coming into this as a factor. And yeah, I just think they're so poor, and regardless of whether they get up for this one, I just think that Arsenal have way too much for them. And as I said, I think the atmosphere on the weekend could be pretty toxic at the London Stadium, especially if Arsenal get in early as they do. We've seen Arsenal come up the blocks starting fast, and if they can get the crowd frustrated at the London Stadium, I think it will be a fairly comfortable afternoon for them, because I think that the fans will start to get on the backs of West Ham, and as I said, a comfortable Arsenal win, unfortunately.
Okay, Chris, the next game in the order is Arsenal then play Southampton at home.
Friday night, isn't it?
Yeah. Friday night game, so it's now you would think, that gives them a chance to get ahead of City, but City don't play that weekend in the Premier League.
No, they've got Sheffield United
in the FA Cup. Yeah, so this is where Arsenal pull away again, and go 2 games more than City, and potentially 9 points clear. So Southampton have gone away to United and got a point. They've been unlucky different places they've gone. They seem to be poor at home. They show bits and pieces, but can't really string even 2 or 3 results together. Arsenal are just going to wipe them away on a Friday night at the Emirates, especially if they have a chance to be 9 points clear.
You'd have thought so. Also, night games always helps. I mean, literally, Southampton's only chance is to do a smash and grab like we did against Chelsea. But I just don't. And I never thought I'd say about Arsenal for years, but Arsenal just don't have that mental weakness that Chelsea is showing this year. So I think it'd be like the West Ham game. I think it'd be a really comfortable win for Arsenal. They'll probably have it won with half an hour to go. I don't even think I can't see them actually getting out second gear for that one.
I have them down for 3 points as well. Jamie, 3 points Arsenal.
Yeah, 3 points. I think it's 10 defeats from 15 away from home for Southampton, so shocking away record. The only possibility, maybe, that opportunity to go well clear for Arsenal. We've seen some slight signs of cracking under the pressure, but I just think they're going to be too good here for Southampton. So yeah, another 3 points for Arsenal.
Like I said, City will have Sheffield United that weekend in the FA Cup, but then the following Wednesday, I think it is, the 26th of April, Arsenal play City. And if everything goes as we think, Arsenal will go into this with 6 games remaining in their season, 9 points clear. Okay, City have 2 games in hand. This is where it comes down to possibly where it's going to change or be decisive. And I'm dying to hear what you both think. Chris, Man City, Arsenal, Wednesday night at the Etihad. And after that, Arsenal will have 5 games left. City will have 7. Where do you think this one goes?
Where it being played again? Sorry,
it's at the Etihad.
At the Etihad, I can't see past the City win. City don't lose many games at home ever, and I think these sort of games, they just know how to get it done. I think they're top of the form guide against the traditional top 6. I think there's only Tottenham and Liverpool, I think, who have beaten them. In the traditional top 6. I just think they'll have a bit too much for them. The only thing that's going to that could go against City is if Guardiola does one of these European night madness things where he just starts playing John Stones up front for shits and giggles and wondering why it doesn't work. But if he keeps playing the way he's playing, I just feel they're more clinical than Arsenal, especially up front. And I just feel the chance. If you saw the chances Liverpool created against them in the second half, City would have scored most of those chances, and that's what they've been doing a lot of the season. Whether it's Haaland, whether it's Alvarez, I kind of think they'll do it. But I don't think they'll steamroll them. I think it could be one of those ones where it's like a 3-1 City, but the third goal comes couple of minutes to go and it's quite edgy and tight. I don't think, I don't see them steamrolling, but I just see City getting the win. If it was at the Emirates, I think it would be a bit more interesting, but I just don't see City losing at home.
Okay. 3 points for City, 0 for Arsenal from Chris. Jamie?
Yeah, I'm going to go for a City win here. I think we've already seen City get the better of them this season. Obviously, I think it was a 3-1 win at the Emirates. So
and the FA Cup as well. It was in the game of the FA Cup.
That's right as well. In the FA Cup, they beat them as well, which I know obviously Arsenal were fairly happy to go out of that competition, but I think that was somewhat a psychological blow and maybe not the best thing to have happened for them. I just think here, City, they've kicked into gear. They've been fantastic, as I said, since February. They've been on this fantastic run as well. They've got this long winning run at the moment. We've seen them smashing it in the Champions League, smashing it in the FA Cup as well. So, yeah, I think they're going to be they're fantastic at the moment. And I think psychologically, we know they're the team that's got the experience. They know how to deal with this running. And I think that's going to stand them in such good stead for the rest of the season. And that's why I think they'll get 3 points here.
And City's just better. City's just better at the dark arts as well. They're just much better. Arsenal, to be fair, do it quite well, but I think City a different level at breaking it up when you need them to.
I think Arsenal get a point. And I'll tell you why.
Go on then.
They go into it with 9. Right? No matter how good City are, and they are great, and I could be sitting here in whatever amount of weeks' time and City have bashed them. But my thinking behind it is that City may feel like this is the last chance. Although they could win, have 2 games in hand, go level with them, go above them on goal difference, and have conceivably, an easier run in. For me, I think Arsenal get a point. I think there'll be a stage in this game where City will panic a little bit, and I think Arsenal have the tools to hurt them if they panic that little bit, because Arsenal go in holding most of the cards. Remember, so Arsenal have every right to go into that game and go, we're just going to sit here and we're going to frustrate and we're going to annoy them, and that's where Pep is likely to go, let's do something mad with a half time or with 30 to go, and then Arsenal go, that's what we were waiting on. You know what I mean? I think they get a point.
They have been in that spot before though, against Liverpool, where I think we went to the Etihad and they were like, well, Liverpool win this, I think we would have made the gap 10 points, pretty much would have ended the chase, and they just found a way, and they always do find a way of making it, get the 2-1 win, and then they went, right, we've got our 2 games in hand now, and then they just get the run. So I kind of feel like they've been there before, but I do think City have to win that game. If they don't win that game, I think that probably makes them.
Well, if they didn't win it, they'd still have 2 games in hand. They'd be going. There'd still only be 3 points in it with 5 games to go. Do you know what I mean? It's not. I
think it's more what the win does to Arsenal.
Yeah.
I think that I think they found a way of gutting it out there.
Well, I just think they get a point. I just think there'll be Arsenal be going into this fully focused on what they're doing. And I'm not saying City won't go into the game focused, but they'll have so much going on around them, because, genuinely, could be in an FA Cup final, right, by that time. This is a massive game in the league, and I think they would have already made their... Yeah, they would be facing up to a European Cup semi-final against is it Real Madrid or Chelsea? Yeah. So I'm putting in as a point a piece, right? So then we move on. City then play before Arsenal. City play away to Fulham on the 30th of April. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to straight up and tell you, I think City win that one. I think that it's the sort of game where you go in and go, oh, Fulham, this, that, and the other, and City just go in and control them, start to finish, and win 2 or 3. That's what I'm going to have. So I'm definitely putting City down for 3 points there. Jamie, the way to Fulham.
Yeah. I mean, Fulham have obviously a bit of a drop off. I was speaking to a Fulham fan today actually, and I think it's 4 defeats they've suffered in a row now. Obviously, that FA Cup defeat, and I think the manner of it was pretty crushing for them. They looked like they were kind of heading through, and then a moment of madness from Willian, a moment of madness from Mitrovic, and kind of the season feels like it's falling apart. Obviously, Mitrovic banned for I think he'll be banned for this game as well. So there's been a real drop off from Fulham. And maybe earlier in the season, you would have fancied them to maybe take points off City, especially at Craven Cottage. But I think just the way they are now and the way that Man City have kind of turned the corner completely, I think, again, another 3 points of Man City I'm giving them.
Chris, 3 points City?
Yeah, I've got 3 points. I think this will be one of those nervy late 1-0s or, or 2-0, but a late goal. I think this might be one where you might see a bit of nerves for City, but I think they get it done. But it's probably one of the more exciting ones to watch.
Okay. The Monday night then, I think it's a Monday night, the 2nd of May.
Tuesday.
Arsenal, Tuesday, is it? Arsenal face Chelsea at home. And this is one where people are looking at. But I'm going to tell you now, I think Arsenal batter Chelsea. I think Chelsea looks so disjointed in what they're trying to do. And you can see those players that they've had before this mad spend starting to find their way back into the side, because I think they're trying to find a more settled thing. But I just can't see past Arsenal at home to Chelsea. I really can't. Chelsea look to me like they can't score, but they give up plenty of chances for you to score. And the two best teams in the league for taking chances are Arsenal and Man City. So straight off the bat on this one, I'm going to give 3 points to Arsenal. Chris?
I've got us being a draw. Because as shite as Chelsea are, and Chelsea have this habit of being, every 2-3 years, absolutely dog turd. But they are the master spoilers. And it doesn't matter who's in the dugout, even though they've got an absolute puppet now in the dugouts, they just seem to be the master spoilers. And it would be very Chelsea to get a result in a game that they should have no right to get a result of. So I can see Chelsea getting a draw against Arsenal, but then next week losing at home to Forest. They're kind of that sort of side this year. So I feel this might be one of the games where they get it. Which, to be honest, if Arsenal have got a 6-point lead or a 9-point lead, a draw's not the end of the world. Because I think you can still sell that to yourself of it's only, there's still plenty in hand. But I've got a sneaky feeling this would the old Chelsea turn up and just become spoilers.
Okay. Jamie, does it make a difference, and I say this very tongue-in-cheek, that Frank Lampard is back at Chelsea? And what I mean by that is he's an awful manager. I'm going to tell you so straight. But he knows Chelsea and Arsenal. In a big, big way, he knows Chelsea and Arsenal. He knows when Arsenal were going invincible in 2004-ish. It was 2004, wasn't it? He was a Chelsea player who were looking on the up, and then he wins 2 titles in a row where Arsenal would have been trying to get at him. And we've seen so many big games between the clubs. I'm not saying Graham Potter couldn't have done set up a side, but is there anything in where for you where Lampard would go in and go, right, this is the one I really fucking want?
Do you know what? It's weird because honestly, when he came in and I saw that they still had Chelsea to play, I really felt that could be the turning point in this game. And I agree with Chris. I do think there will be an upset here, and I actually think Chelsea will win this one. I think it's pretty crazy. Obviously, pretty crazy to say this right now, but I just think that this is like I mentioned earlier. I don't think the London derby factor will come into the West Ham game, but this one I really think it will. I think Chelsea would absolutely love it to go there and get the win. And it is a very talented Chelsea team individually. Obviously, collectively, it's not been great this season. I just think as well with Frank Lampard, I think he would love nothing more to go there and get the win here. And there's going to be so much pressure on Arsenal here to kind of win here. And I think that might get to them. I think absolute fair play to them this season. There's been times, as I said, where they've overcome challenges where people said they would fall. But I think when it gets to the real business end of the season and the pressure is really on, I think that this is where, Chelsea have got nothing to lose. It's all about they want to come here and cause an upset. And I think they can do that. So I actually think it will be a Chelsea win. Obviously, I'm not basing it on terms of any statistics or anything like that. I just think that the fact that Chelsea will be bang up for this one to stop Arsenal, being a London derby, Frank Lampard, yes, I definitely agree that he's a very poor manager, but I think he'll know what this fixture means, and I think he'll love to stop Arsenal here. So I'm going to go for 3 points for Chelsea.
Well, moving on. The following night, City host West Ham. We've spoken a bit about West Ham. City are at home. Just quickly, are we all doing 3 points on West Ham at home?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. I'll put that down, so 3, 3, 3. Okay, moving on. This is the crunch for me. On the 7th of May, Arsenal travel away to Newcastle, while City host Leeds. Okay? And Chris, you mentioned earlier where you think after that Chelsea game is where it could turn, right? Because away to Newcastle,
He's an absolute bastard of a game.
home to Bournemouth, right, is the next 2 games, while City host Leeds and travel to Everton. You know, 2 teams are absolutely... Now, in fairness, 2 teams are absolutely dogging it down there, trying to get out. But let's go back to Arsenal. Newcastle... No, sorry, let's not. Let's stick with City. Leeds at home. Leeds Leeds are a team that keeps showing flashes of they're really good attacking and they can score goals, but then you see them at home to Crystal Palace the other day. Crystal Palace with Hodgson in charge. They know Palace are going to be organised and they managed to lose the game 5-1. Are we all okay with City taking 3 points at home to Leeds on the 7th of May? Annie?
I think it's still an awkward one because I was really surprised to see Leeds lose that game because I think under Javier Grazia they made like a pretty good run. They put a good run together. So yeah, I just think with Leeds being away here and at the Etihad, I think it's very difficult to see it. But look, Javier Grazia, he's managed to set his teams up against others and get points. So there is that possibility. But I just think when City are in the mood they're in now, you know, clicked into gear, as I said, I just think that they will. Javier Grazia might come in and pose a bit of a threat, but I think City far too good here.
And this may be the game before they head for the European Cup semi-final, I think. The midweek is the semi-final, and after that, Jamie's gone 3 points. I've gone 3 points. Chris, are you arguing against 3 points here?
No. I think it might be one of those goal difference games for Cities.
Okay, no problem.
That's kind of what they do to Leeds.
So that's City doing their job on the 7th of May. Arsenal travel away to Newcastle. Now, the thing about this one is Newcastle could actually nearly have European Champions League secured by this stage if they continue on the way they are. I think
Newcastle want 3rd. I think that's what they're aiming for.
Okay, because I'm not too sure on the table at the moment, but what's the difference between Newcastle and 5th place?
I'm not sure, but I know the level United.
It is. Does that have the points here? Yes. No, that's not the league table.
Because the reason I'm asking is that could we get to the stage where this is the 4th last game of the season and Newcastle are comfortable? I don't think they would be.
Newcastle 56, Spurs are on 53, but they've got a game in hand on Spurs. So I don't know who the game in hand's against, but so it's still quite tight.
It's still quite tight, but I can't see Newcastle getting to 4 games from the end of the season and having 4th secure. You know what I mean? I don't know if they could. You know what I mean?
Well, when Spurs are the team chasing them, I don't think they have too much to worry about.
Yeah, well, that's true. And Liverpool have stopped chasing as well. So, but then again, like Brighton are still in there. There's teams still in there, and every game seems to matter. Like Newcastle could be playing a team down the bottom. You know, the sort of way. I don't know if Newcastle. I think they might have to play Everton as well at some stage. But Newcastle away for Arsenal, and this is a huge game for me because if you remember when Spurs got 4th ahead of Arsenal absolutely capitulated at Newcastle, didn't they?
That was honestly one of the recent times, and obviously it shows that I haven't had a great deal to celebrate. It was an unbelievable night, but they completely crumbled that evening. It was all in their hands for Arsenal.
And it's probably something they want to go and rectify. Do you know what I mean? Like, they missed it. It was only last season, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was second. It was the penultimate game. Penultimate.
Yeah, and they got beaten 2 or 3, I think, at St James's. Yeah. And they'll want to rectify this, and they're going to a Newcastle side that put up to everybody that go there. Like it's not even a Newcastle side where they used to be 14, 15 in the league. It's a tough place to go when it really wasn't. You were going up and you were sitting 11 men behind the ball, and you get a goal and you wouldn't have an answer to it. This is a completely different Newcastle they're facing. Jamie, go on, let you go first. Newcastle away.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a draw here. I think that Newcastle, as we said, I think they should comfortably have that 4th or top 4 secured, and I think they'll look at this game and think that a point's very good for them, and I think they'll just look to frustrate Arsenal. We saw earlier in the season they managed to go away to the Emirates and get a point, and I think they're more than capable of doing it again. And I think this is going to be one of Newcastle's biggest games in the run in, and they've had a fantastic season. And I think again it will be almost like kind of a party atmosphere for them. I'm sure by that point, if they can get something here, Champions League football will almost be in the bag, and the fans will be bang up for this one. So it's going to be, it's a really horrible fixture for Arsenal, this one. And I can see Newcastle maybe looking to frustrate them. I don't think they'll get the win, Newcastle, but as I said, enough to kind of get something from this. So I'm going to go for a point for Newcastle.
Okay. Chris?
I've got a point for Newcastle as well.
Okay.
And I also think for Newcastle, they've now got a bit of belief after turning United over at home, because there was a thing for a while that Newcastle weren't winning many games against the top six, and I think getting that win over Man United probably also gives them that little bit of belief as well. But I mean, Gav, we saw, it helped us when we went there that they were down to 10 men and we were already at a lead, but we saw in the home game against Newcastle, they're just horrible to play against. They're really awkward. And Isak is back now, and Isak, is getting Callum Wilson to go up to another level, because he knows if he doesn't, Isak's in, and when Isak comes on, he scores as well. So I think now Newcastle start to add a bit more goals to the game, which is always their Achilles heel earlier in the season. So I fancy Newcastle to get at least a point out of the game.
I think Arsenal win it. I think this screams of a game to me where everyone's going Newcastle, and Arsenal go up and score in the first 5 minutes and score again soon after, and then Newcastle rally, get a goal back, and Arsenal hang on. That's what it feels like to me. I think as much as people, like Kev says there, the pressure on Arsenal will be something most in that squad will not have experienced. It's the decider. This one, he feels that this one against Newcastle. I think the motivation to go there and not only put a few things to bed over that fixture, but also put themselves in a brilliant position, I think, is what's going to drive Arsenal in this one. I think they just need to focus on themselves, being themselves, and I think, they've dealt with most teams away from home this season really, really well. So I think they win it. I think it's one where you think they're going to fall, and they don't. So I'm going to give Arsenal 3 points. 14th. I'm going to go through these a bit quick because we have about 5 minutes left. 14th of May. Brighton at home for Arsenal. Everton away for City. Let's start with Everton away for City. Anybody giving Everton any points?
No, I think it's 1-0 City, but I think they'll be made to work for it because it's between Champions League games.
Okay. I think they get 3 points there as well, City.
Yep.
You the same?
Yeah, I'll go for the same. I do think it's an awkward one. Obviously, Sean Dyche, we know he's come in and done a good job, and especially at Goodison Park. But again, I think City are a side who probably are immune to kind of Sean Dyche ball, and I think they'll have enough here and get the win.
Okay. Brighton at home for Arsenal. Jamie?
Yeah,
I think this outside of City is their hardest game left of the season.
Yeah, it's Brighton are an interesting one. I think there's been a slight drop off from them. Obviously, we saw them lose to Spurs as well, so that was probably a disappointing defeat, and especially the manner of it as well. I think that will frustrated them. It'll be interesting to see how they do respond to that, and whether that gets them really fired up to go again and look to try and finish above Spurs. Obviously, so many kind of moments in that game where they should have had taken points. But maybe it has the adverse effect, and that frustrates them, and it kind of derails their season a little bit. But here, I think Arsenal will be too good for them. I think Brighton will still be somewhat fighting for Europe, but I think we're going to see a slight drop off from Brighton now until the end of the season, and I think Arsenal get the 3 points here.
Okay. Chris, Brighton at home.
1-1 draw.
I'm going to go with you.
I think Brighton just make it difficult for all the top six sides. And to be honest, I know they were robbed from getting something off Spurs, and they've hammered Liverpool home and away. Just they've made life difficult for Chelsea. Brighton are just one of those sides now. They're the sides you just don't want to play. And as Kev rightly points out, they could even be on the verge of an FA Cup final as well. So there will also be people playing for places for an FA Cup final, potentially.
Yeah.
So Jamie has Arsenal winning. Me and you have a draw there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then Arsenal go to Forest. Same weekend. Arsenal go to Forest and City host Chelsea. Now, is anybody giving Forest points against Arsenal here?
No,
No.
not at all. No chance. Yeah.
Okay, I agree. So let's just put 3 in there for a minute. Okay. Chelsea at home. We've talked about them spoiling Arsenal's party. Could he do the same to City?
I still think City win because it's at City. I think if it's at Stamford Bridge, I think then we'll be up for a spoiler.
Yeah.
I think City's home record against Chelsea is pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the only thing that would be interesting is it depends what hangover they've got from the semi-final. Are they in a Champions League final or have they just been knocked out?
Okay. Give me who wins it? Come on, Chris.
City 2-1.
Jamie.
I'm gonna go for 2-0 Man City. I think Chelsea have been their scoring record has been shocking. I think that's something that maybe flown under the radar a little bit. To have spent nearly 600 million this season and they've scored 29 times in total is really shocking. So I don't think they'll even get on the score sheet here.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, it does make me kind of think that our prediction for them to beat Arsenal is a little bit crazy. But I gave the reasons why I do think that is possible. But I think here, I just don't think the motivation will be there. I don't think the quality is there to go away to the Etihad and win. So, I think a 2-0 win for Man City here.
Now, I have to talk about this one before we get to the last day of the season. Brighton away for City. It looks like we'll go in between the second last and the last game of the season as it stands. So, Brighton away for City, which looks like it would be a midweek night game.
I think Brighton get a point out of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you the same, Jamie?
I'm gonna go for a point as well. Partly because I feel a little bit bad that I keep giving City 3 points. They're gonna drop points somewhere. So,
I mean that could also be a FA Cup final preview, and you don't tend to want to give too much away when you're playing the side in that final a few weeks later. So it feels like a draw sort of game for me.
Yeah,
I think if Brighton are indeed in the final, I think City win it. I think Brighton at that stage may be out of running for a Champions League spot. I think would they get a Europa League spot off losing the FA Cup final anyway? Because City will be in the Champions League, so I think Brighton might start to settle on what they have. I think City win that one. So then the last day of the season, Arsenal host Wolves, City go to Brentford. Arsenal first. Chris, I have them down for 3 points.
I think it's a comfortable Arsenal win.
Okay. Jamie?
Yeah, I think Wolves. Well, it'll be interesting to see where they're at. I think the fight for relegation will probably be settled. I think as well. Wolves should be okay. Obviously, got that win at Chelsea as well, so maybe they look to kick on for the rest of the season, and they might be okay at that point. Very difficult to tell, but I just think this game, regardless of where Wolves are at, Arsenal are going to be too good. Arsenal will be totally motivated to go out and win this one. It's at the Emirates. Yeah, comfortable win for Arsenal.
Okay. And on the final day of the season, Brentford away for City. And I'm going to say it now, City going batter Brentford. Last day of the season, when they're still in the title race, they're definitely not dropping points. It's just not how they work. 3 points.
I think you get the Aguero type finish again.
Do you?
I think it'd be I think Alvarez will do his Aguero moments. I think all the talk about Haaland, I think it'd be someone like an Alvarez will score like an 89th minute winner.
Okay.
In a 2-1 win. It feels like that's probably how it'll go.
Okay. So Jamie, City.
I think a City win. It'll be interesting to see how they do it. But I think by this point, Brentford probably will have nothing to play for, and I think City. I just think their mentality is something that's going to be so key in this whole title race. And they'll have no issues going away to Brentford. Yes, it's an awkward place for most other teams to go, but I think for City, they'll comfortably go and win this one. So yeah, I'm going to go for another 3 points for City.
Okay. I'm just adding them up. I'm going to be honest with you. 7, 3, 6. Okay. And Jamie, sorry.
Yeah, I gave a lot of 3 points to Man City, I think. So
okay, so let me tell you how it fell. I have Arsenal to finish on 93 points.
Wow.
And I've City to finish on 92.
Holy hell. Wow.
Okay. Chris has Arsenal to finish on 88 points, with City on 92. And Jamie has, surprisingly, he has Arsenal to finish on 89 and City to finish on 90.
Oh.
There you go.
So also, it's all tight, isn't it? You know.
Well, not where you're coming from. You 4 points that you win the boy. Like, it won't even matter on the last day of the season.
So have I got, wow. So
just to run through it quickly, right? I have, they start on 73 Arsenal. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wins, which would be 18 points, which would be 91, isn't that right? Yeah. And then I've done drawing twice, which was 93. Chris had 1, 2, 3, 4 wins, 3 draws, and a defeat, right? Which gives them 15 points, which gives them 88. Yeah. And Jamie, you had 1, 2, 3, 4. You 5 wins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wins, a draw, and 2 defeats, which would give them 16, which would give them 89.
Yeah.
All right. With City, though, I've given City winning everything bar Arsenal. Okay.
Yeah.
Which leaves them a point off. Chris gives City winning every game bar Brighton away, which gives them 92. And you have them winning every game bar Brighton away as well, which gives them 90 on your route. Is that right? Yeah. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 20, 24, 25. Sorry, you have them on 92. Sorry, you have them on 92. 89 to 92. Chris is 88 to 92. And I have 93, 92. So I have Arsenal winning it by a point.
Wow.
You have City winning it by 3, and Chris has the City winning it by 4. So it's gonna be so tight. It's gonna be so tight. Chris looks a bit bemused here. Have I added it up wrong?
No. I'll just look at the score. Okay. Just look at the score.
No problem. So that's been it. I think Arsenal. These two lads think City. If you're watching now or afterwards, stick a comment underneath as to what you think Arsenal and City's points totals will be, and then we can go back at the end of the season and check out the comments and see what people think. But it's going to be an absolutely cracking run in. The funny thing is that game at the Etihad doesn't decide things. It's too early to decide things really, but it's going to have a massive say. Chris, like Chris said, that Newcastle away, Brighton at home after that Chelsea game could be huge. Like City, Chelsea, Newcastle, Brighton is 4 hard ones for Arsenal. But then when you look at City, they have got the European stuff already in there. They do have to play Chelsea at home. They do have to play Arsenal at home. They have a difficult one with Brighton away. So listen, we could be both wrong. We could be all 3 of us could be wrong. We could be sitting here going one of them won on 87 and the other team at 85 because there was defeats in there as well. Dean Ryan, who's of this parish, Bookmakers, says, please pray that Gav is not correct. Of course, he is of course a Spurs fan. But look, it's going to be very tight. It's going to be very exciting. There's pressure on both sides. Arsenal have less games to worry about, but I don't think they expected to be here this season. City have more games, but like they have a chance to win a treble. So it's going to be absolutely huge, and I think it will go right down to the last day. And this, Chris could be right. It could be one of those Aguero moments. So that's it. That's been the Premier League preview show for this week. Make sure to check out bookmakers.com. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're here every Thursday at 9 o'clock where we talk different things. Next week we go back to previewing games and stuff like that. But we definitely wanted to look into relegation and the title over the last 2 weeks. But next week we will get back into games and looking to see exactly what results over the next 6, 7, 8 weeks means for a lot of clubs, because there's clubs there that are starting to progress more than they thought, and there's loads of going on in the Premier League. Literally every game means something. So if you're watching the Premier League this weekend, enjoy it. Whoever you support, enjoy it. Hope you have a good time, and we'll see you next Thursday. See you in a bit. Cheers.